All right, Busters, here we are back for part 2 of the birthday gift shirt that I'm making for my daughter. And today I'm cutting out the heat set vinyl and then setting that on the shirt with my heat press. So let's get on with that and see how that turns out. Well, hi YouTube, and welcome back to all my Buster buddies. Hey, it's your big kahuna here, Brad, and this is Brad's Boredom Busters, your tie-dye art channel. All right, we're doing a little different tie-dye project today. So if you watched last week's video, you saw that I did a gravity dyed shirt. I'm making this shirt as a birthday gift for my daughter, and I'm going to heat set a message onto the front of it. And so that's what we're working on today, is creating the message and heat setting that on the shirt. So the tie-dyed shirt is all finished. It's over here on the work table. But now we're going to get into Cricut. So I'll show you on the computer in the Cricut design space the design I've already got designed. But then I'll show you how we set it up to cut it out. We'll cut out the message, and then I'll take it over to the heat press and we'll set that. And then we'll be done with the gift. So it ought to be kind of cool. If you're interested in doing extra designs to your shirt or printing messages on your tie-dye shirts, then this might be an interesting episode for you. All right, let's get into it. Okay, Busters, so this is my Cricut homepage. And so when you get here, this is, your discovery page. You get all kinds of possible, project suggestions. This is where you would come to create new projects. You could have a blank canvas or whatever else, like a t-shirt if you're working on, or decals. I've got this design already made, and so it's in my saved section. So you go here, it says my stuff. Go there. This is the message, my favorite nurse. And so we're going to that. So I've got this already laid out, and so I can go directly to make it. All right, so here you have the different options. Most of your materials you'll probably put it on a mat, but when I bought the Cricut, it does come with some materials. It comes with this smart material, which is 13 inches by 12 inches. And the base, I'll show you that here in a minute, but the base for the Cricut where the material goes in is 13 inches wide. So we're going to use that. Confirm. All right, and so here we've got the different elements. And that'll be everything. So one thing that's very important. So one thing you want to do before you start cutting out your material is, because you're cutting this out kind of on the back side, and then it gets flipped over to be heat set, you want to do what they call mirroring your image. So this button here, you've got to engage that. Do that on every one of these. And so that puts everything in the right position. And then you can start cutting out your elements. And so I'll start here with the red. All right, so after we've mirrored all our images, then we'll go down here to where it says continue. And then, so right here, it's set basic material, bookmarked. Popular is Mylar. We don't want that. So we go all materials. And so we have iron-on smart. So this is the one we want. We're using the smart material, so it's matteless heat transfer vinyl. So we click on that. done. Okay, and so now it's prompting us which blade to use, which is the one that comes with the machine. So we can press the load button. So before we load, so we want to make sure we have the material facing the right way. So you notice there's a very shiny side and a matte side. Well, the shiny side goes down, and on the smart vinyl, like I say, there's a narrow way and a wide way. So you want it the wide way so it fits in between all the grooves. And then we want to load this. Hit our load button. And now the computer's taking and putting the program to the Cricut. So now it's telling us to hit the start button. And you see it's flashing. All right. So there it goes. Scanning and setting up for the material. All right, and that's 100% cut. So now it's telling us to unload. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's our heart. All right, so we can, and now it automatically proceeds to the next material. So we'll get that set up. I'll cut the rest of these out exactly the same way. And then when that's done, I'll show you the next step. All right, Busters. So now comes the part of the project when you need to do what they call weeding. But we don't need to waste this. We can save a lot of this because the heart on this one is just up in this corner. So what you want to do is just cut out your design. And I may be hearing some of you saying, well, Brad, what do you do now that you've cut this out? How do you put your vinyl back in the Cricut cutter? Well, now it would be, even though it's smart material, but now you've cut the width off. One, I mean, depending on how big the project, you can always turn it around and you put it in this way. But you know, there'll come a time when you've used up so much that you can't put it in the Cricut, you know, and have it feed in properly. So that's the time that you would actually put it on one of their mats, the Cricut mat, and so it's a sticky mat that holds the material in place, and then you can feed it into the cutter, you know, using their mat. So that's what, you know, after you've cut up this a little bit, you can still use the material on their mats. Anyway, so now we have our heart here, and what we're going to do is what they call weeding. And so you just kind of have to release the vinyl from the backing material, which is the transfer, built-in transfer material. That's what that shiny side is the transfer material. And it's a lot of fun to get this started. And there's always more than one way to skin a cat. There we go. Just got to get the material, start pulling it away from the backing. There you go. And then it goes pretty easy. Okay, and there is our heart. And so I'll do the exact same thing to the other two colors. And so when I get these all weeded out, then I'll take you over to the heat press and we'll show you how we put the design on the shirt. Okay, Busters. Well, before we get into the next phase of working with the vinyl, I want to show you one other thing here on Cricut. So if you have a heat press or some other method of heat setting this. Each brand of vinyl will typically have their own proprietary heat settings and time for doing it. So Cricut on their design space is really helpful as far as finding it. So you go to these 3 wavy lines and see it says heat guide. So you click that, brings this chart up. So oddly enough, all they do are give you kind of there, because they've got a lot of different heat setting methods. Pick one that's kind of closest to what you have. Like I say, mine is what they kind of call a clamshell style, like this heat press. So I just click on that, so they generally get the idea of what I'm using. And then it says select heat transfer materials. So click this, gives you this long list. And so we go down until we find our smart materials. So we just have the regular smart iron-on. And then they want to know what we are heat setting it to. So we're doing 100% cotton. And then apply. And then that gives you here, this is our setting. And so what I suggest to do, also they give you other instructions here as well. Now you can print all that out, or what I'm familiar enough how to set it, but so I can remember this, you could print out just this portion of the page, and then you always have these settings for, if you're doing a lot of the same thing, which obviously I do. So that gives you the heat settings for Cricut's smart material. All right, so that's all we need from the computer. Okay, Busters, so here we are over at my heat press. So if you remember, our heat settings were 315 degrees for 50 seconds. So I've got my heat press set for that temperature and time. Right now, it's still heating up, so it's not up to full temperature yet. But there are a few things we can do ahead of time, like setting our shirt down and getting it centered. So we just want to get it as close to center as you can. Get the collar out of the way, because the main part of our message is going to go here in this kind of yellow-orange area. So trying to center that in the on the plate here. And another good practice to do, and you can do it while the press is heating up also, is taking a lint roller and just kind of cleaning off the area that you're going to be putting down your vinyl, so you don't trap any lint or pet hair or anything like that down. So just want to clean that. So you can see, picked up a lot of little hairs and everything just from sitting around. All right, so it's almost up to temperature. Also a good practice then to do before you actually apply your vinyl is just to bring the heat plate down for just a few seconds, just to get any moisture that might be in the fabric out. So we can drop that down just for about 10 seconds. All right, that's good. That helps just get some of the moisture out. So What I like about this heat press too is it does have the sliding plate. That way you're not working under the direct heat. So now's the time to kind of lay out our design. So now you can see the reason we mirrored the image there. It was cut out in this pattern, but this dull side is kind of your adhesive side, so it gets flipped over. And so it's going to go down here, and so we can kind of lay this out, and it can be moved around still. We'll figure out where we want the message to sit. And if some of the elements, like this heart, see the plastic is too big, and so I'm going to end up cutting some of this out. I might cut that back a little bit, and I'm going to cut around the heart a lot closer. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've got the transfer plastic cut back on these elements, so now they fit. But the other thing I want to do, because I've got this squared up, I want to make sure that nurse is square to this plate. So grab a ruler, and it's like 4 7/8 there. See, we're a little off there. So I can bring this side up a little bit. This a little bit. There, that's better. Now we're even. Okay, good. The other thing, especially if you're doing multiple elements like this, it's a good idea. This is what they call heat tape. It's designed to be used for these purposes, so the adhesive on this does not transfer any kind of residue to the fabric. But it's a good idea. You can just put that, and that holds it in place. So let me get all the tape down, and then we'll go on. Okay, I've got all the heat tape down, so everything's where I want it. So now we can slide the plate in. The heat press is up to temperature. So let's put that down. And it's got a timer here, and it'll beep when it's time to pull it up. So when that goes off, we just lift it up, and our heat press is done. Now the nice thing about this machine, you see this kind of pad here on the top and bottom. That is like a silicone heat pad. Other machines don't have that, and you can purchase sheets of the same kind of material to silicone mat. And I've seen other YouTubers, like they'll wrap it around, hold it on with magnets. If you, like I say, had a heat press that doesn't have this, that comes with it, then you would want to purchase that just as a precaution. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. So there is our material heat set, but we want to let this cool down a little bit before we pull up the transfer material. All right, so like I say, we've finished heat setting this, and you want to check, and it doesn't matter what brand of heat vinyl, Cricut, or any of the other manufacturers, always go to their website and check, one, their heat setting, but two, then when it's okay to take the transfer material off. Some of them you can do when it's hot, or they tell you when it's warm. For Cricut, they say when it's cool to the touch. So when I say this is still pretty warm, And so we want to let this sit and cool down completely. Get all the heat out of the plastic transfer material. So I'm going to let this sit for a little bit. For you, you'll be back here in just a moment. For me, it'll take, could take as much as 15 minutes, I bet, to be completely cool to the touch. So we'll be right back, and I'll show you how this looks once we get this all pulled off, and the shirt will be pretty much done. The only other thing I'm doing is I am going to put on the back of the collar, or on the outside, is one of my little labels here. It's Daystar Art Creations and my logo. So that'll go on the back of the collar before I'm finished with this. All right, I'll be right back as soon as this is cooled down. Thanks for watching. All right, one lunch later. Okay, so our vinyl is now cool to the touch, and so now we can start pulling the transfer material off. Release the heat tape and just slowly peel that back. Okay. All right, so that's all the transfer material off. So let's set it up and we'll take a look at the finished results. All right, Busters, so here is the finished shirt with the colorful message on it. I really like it. Hopefully my daughter will too, but the sentiment is there because I am very proud of her. She's been a nurse now for 2 years, being very successful at it, and I think she's very happy. So she's worked really hard for it, and right now she's just living her best life. So anyway, hopefully she'll enjoy this for many years to come. Anyway, let me show you the back. So you see I've got my Daystar Art Creation logo up here on the collar. But yeah, I think this came out really nice. It's very colorful, and like I say, the vinyl transfer worked out just great. It feels very smooth. It's not stiff or anything. So hey, if you like what you saw, why don't you give me a thumbs up on this video? And if you think your friends might like this, why don't you share it around? That helps me out. And if you've made it to the end of this video and you really like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And if you want to help out my channel, don't forget about my Buy Me a Coffee page or a super thanks. And my affiliate links are down in the description below. And right now I do have the Cricut Maker 4 and the heat press in my affiliate links. So if you want to grab one and try these kind of projects out, I'd appreciate it if you got it from me. That would help out my channel as well. All right, well, thanks for watching. I am very happy with this project. I think it came out really cool. So I appreciate you sticking it out to the end. Love all my subscribers. Peace out, baby, and go have fun tie-dyeing. I'm not as sophisticated.